Oh man, today is just a beautiful day in southern Missouri. Yeah. Anyway, I was wanting to throw together a little video to talk about a subject I didn't see being discussed very many places here on YouTube. There's tons of videos with opinions letting you know how other people think you should go about defending yourself. But there's almost virtually nothing on that subject geared towards people that are under 21 years old or the legal age to carry in your state. So that's something I wanted to address really quickly in one of my videos, being a younger firearms enthusiast, outdoor enthusiast. I wanted to explore that topic with you guys. So without further ado, let's transition to a little bit less noisy, although given less beautiful environment, and we'll talk about that. So let's start this video off right. As I said before, this video is going to be geared towards people who want to defend themselves but might not be the legal age requirement to carry in their state. Now when I say carry, I mean carry a firearm, because when you boil it all down, the firearm is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter if you're young, you're old, you're skinny, you're fat, you're muscular, you're white, you're black, you're Asian. It is the great equalizer. It will put you on a level playing field with everyone else as long as you are properly trained and know how to employ it effectively. Now this creates a problem for people who might not meet the age requirement to carry in their state. It depends on your state. Who knows, for some places it's 18, some places it's 21. It can vary depending on state to state. But let's say you are under that age, maybe 15, a responsible 15-year-old or 16-year-old, and you are concerned with defending yourself and other people. This is a video for you. Okay, first let's start off with some what I would consider bad options that you don't want to go with. Any sort of baton or stick to beat someone with. Let's be very realistic. Sure, it could be a useful weapon, but you're going to have to consider what type of physical ability you are in currently. That's going to heavily affect how effectively you can use your defensive tool. So if you're going to be a small person, I would not recommend using any type of baton, or you've seen tactical pins, pins designed to practically stab, but they're not actually sharp. They're more of just pointed objects, and they're designed to gouge out eyes or hit people in temples. I would not recommend those at all, because you might as well just have a blunt object. If you are going to be carrying something to defend yourself, you want to pick the most effective option possible, and that is definitely not it. Secondly, let's go on to another option which a lot of people, most females tend to carry, which I do not agree with, is pepper spray. Pepper spray, it definitely affects people, but it's not going to heavily deter a attacker. And I'll give you my rationale behind this. Pepper spray, when you boil it down, it is a temporary pain. There is temporary pain in the eyes, mouth, skin of whoever is trying to assault you. And if you are in I'll just build up a likely scenario. Let's say you are a female, and a big male is trying to assault you or rape you or sexually assault you. The pain he feels when he's being pepper sprayed, it is going to be temporary. It's probably going to be excruciating, but as long as he has the mental block inside of his mind, he knows it's going to be temporary. If he had to, he could do whatever he wanted to while being pepper sprayed. That's just what it's going to be boiled down to. If you look into some other options, such as knives, there is a big fear factor, because when you pull out a knife, they know that even if they end up disarming you, unless you are completely incapable of anything, he's going to get cut, and that's going to leave permanent damage. So that's why I would always, I would not advise carrying pepper spray because of that. And finally, the last option that I kind of have a gripe with, less so than the previous two, is tasers. Tasers can be pretty effective, especially because they just seize up your bodily functions, and especially if you have a military or police style deployable taser that has range, it can very effectively drop them to the ground. However, I have the same problem with pepper spray that I do with tasers, and that is it is not permanent. There is no risk of permanent bodily harm to the person, and if it's taken away from you, they're going to be in the same shape they were before they were attacking you. Okay, so after laying out all those other options on the table, I'm going to give you my suggestion to practically everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. I think this would be the best fit for you as long as you have ample training, and that is carrying some sort of knife. I know some people might be reluctant to carry a knife, and I could understand why, but I think as far as defensive capabilities go, it really is your best option. And as I outlined before when I was talking about pepper spray, there is a very real fear when it comes to knives, as opposed to other defensive measures, obviously besides guns, because guns inflict greater immediate bodily harm. But knives are extremely painful. When someone looks at you and you have a knife out, they know, unless you're completely incompetent with it, you're at least going to cut them once. I mean, the saying goes, no one wins in a knife fight. So everyone is getting cut. So I would just say that there's definitely a fear factor that comes along with carrying knives. And if your goal, I would never bank on this. I'm not one of those people that say, if you have a shotgun and an intruder breaks into your house, you got to rack it, and then they'll go off running. I would never do that. If they're inside your home, they need to be dealt with, and you should not give up your position to let them know, hey, I'm over here. That was their mistake. But if you are in a situation where you feel like you might, there's imminent danger, don't go around pulling knives on people. But if there is imminent danger and you pull out a knife, you have a very real possibility to scaring them off, honestly. Obviously not what you want to bank on, but it is a factor there. And as far as being completely incompetent with a knife, I would say that as long as you train yourself, and I'm gearing this towards females. If you don't think that you are proficient with a knife, learn. You don't need some sort of special knife fighting class. You just need to go out there with a Sharpie and practice being aggressive. If you are a very passive person, I would recommend just doing some boxing training, something to put you in the mindset of, this is life or death, and I need to do something. Do not practice. Practice makes perfect. Honestly, guys, go out there and do something, because you can make yourself. The goal isn't to make yourself be some sort of crazy special forces killing machine. It's to make yourself a porcupine, a blowfish, a difficult target. If you make yourself a difficult target, then it's going to be a lot harder for someone to pick you to be assaulted or to be attacked. So that's going to be a big part of it right there. Now, as to what type of knife you should get, this is a pretty small knife, especially if you are going to be carrying a knife with the sole purpose of defense. I would definitely recommend getting a bigger knife than this. This is about a 3-inch blade. It is a Kershaw Skyline. If you are carrying a knife with the purpose of defending yourself, I would recommend getting a bigger knife. If you are carrying a concealed firearm, this is definitely a great knife for concealed carry, because you aren't expecting it to fill a tactical role. Instead, you are filling a utility role in your kit, in your daily carry. So this doesn't need to be your defensive tool if you are carrying. If you are not carrying and you are under the age of 21 or whatever the legal carry age, I would recommend beefing this up, because not only could this fill your utility role, it is also what you are staking your life on. So that is something to consider. What I would recommend as far as a defensive knife is something like this. This is my CRKT M16 14Z SF. It is a relatively cheap knife. I've had it for over 6 years, and it has served me extremely well. It has a large 4-inch blade, and it's also going to be thick. It's going to cause a lot of damage. It's chisel grind, so that means out of the box it's going to be extremely sharp, and you can sharpen it to be extremely sharp, although it does take some finesse and expertise to be able to sharpen these knives. And then it is also tanto, which means it has 2 blades, a primary blade and a secondary blade, which is very easy to pierce with. So this would be my pick for a overall defensive knife. This knife fills a very easy defensive role as well as a utility role. There's 2 stops right here to keep your hand from sliding up and onto the blade. It also comes with a very useful quick open feature out of your pocket, where whenever it's in your pocket with the pocket clip, as you pull it out, you pull it back, and it will catch on your pocket and flip the knife blade open. And I will demonstrate that with some B-roll right now. Yes, this is probably going to be my overall pick for a defensive knife. And I mean, it can be anything. Just make sure you're following the same parameters. If it's going to be a defensive knife, it needs to be longer, so like 4 inches, thick blade. Here, hopefully I can compare these blade thicknesses. You can tell the difference. This one is much larger. There's the length. And then the tanto blade helps with piercing, just as long as it's designed to be a defensive knife. And again, this is going to add to a possible fear factor. If someone's going to be attacking you, let's just be honest, they're probably not the smartest person. And the smartest person would definitely be affected by things such as physical appearances when it comes to knives. If you show them something that they envision in their mind, although, I mean, let's think about it. These two are completely, they're not completely the same, but let's just say these are both capable of harming you in very extreme ways, but this one just looks a whole lot meaner. So a very smart person might not flinch at this, but you pull this out and everyone's like, whoa, I do not want to mess with this person. So that's something to consider. Finally, if you're very intent on defending yourself extremely effectively, I might look into a specialty knife. This blade is almost exclusively for defense. This is what you call a karambit, or a hawksbill blade, folding knife. This is actually a ripoff for those interested of a Emerson knife, and it is a very effective tool for self-defense. If we're talking about that shock factor and defensiveness and scare factor, this probably has the most. Whenever it has the same wave feature, which I can demonstrate for you, and whenever you pull it out, it's going to flip the blade open. And then there's the extra spin factor, where you can flip it around whenever, right after you pull it out. It's very easy to flip it around and have it in that reverse grip, which is going to be your most effective method. This is going to be very ineffective as far as defensive capabilities go. It doesn't give you enough leverage. It doesn't give you enough leverage, and it's honestly not how it was designed to be held. It was designed to be held with your pointer finger through the hole, and the rest of your hand gripping it with a reverse grip. But if you are very adamant about protecting yourself and protecting yourself effectively, then I would possibly recommend carrying a main defensive blade as well as a utility blade to give you the best of both worlds. Anyway, guys, the daylight is running out on me, so I will have to end that video there. I just wanted to stoke some thought between us younger YouTubers and people that think alike in our mindset on defense and firearms and outdoors life. So let me know what you guys think of my opinions. I know that some people might have differing opinions when it comes to defense without a firearm, whether that be pepper spray, tasers, batoning items. let me know. And as always, I will see you in the next video.